In this chapter, we're going to take a look at what it takes to create realistic materials in 3ds Max. It always seems to be the materials part of a project that fires folks up, because they finally get a chance to add in all those little extra details that make their objects look like they belong in a photograph and not simply sitting on a computer screen. You see, it's going to be the skin that you apply that'll springboard your objects into the realm of believability that you should strive for. The truth is, even with great-looking models in a well-lit scene, without the right skin, things just won't look as good as they could. Your materials must turn heads if you're serious about this little game we call animation. And to be honest, those great-looking skins aren't always easy to create. No, if you're going to do it right, if you plan on making something that your audience just wants to reach out and touch, there's actually a little more to it than you might think. Now, some surfaces are fairly easy to create. You take something like the blue plastic insert on this tape dispenser. It's got a little color, a little shine, but that's about it. There's really not that much to whipping something like that up. Now, you compare that to something like this old rock. It's got color, in fact, several colors. Also maybe has a few areas of shine due to its mineral composition. But its most notable surface characteristic is its texture. There's a feel, a definite roughness to the surface. And in that, with the extra shine and texture, something that would certainly be more difficult to recreate than that tape dispenser insert, right? So sometimes when building a skin, there's quite a bit to consider. It's almost like there ought to be a list of questions that you need to answer before beginning to make pretty much any material. Questions that take a closer look at all the surface characteristics that make up the skin. Now in that, if you can get your hands on something of reference, something that looks like what you're trying to make, get it and study it closely. Check out the body color. Is what you're going to make solid in color, or does it have some kind of pattern or design? And the colors that do make it look the way it does. Are they intense and full of color, or are they more muted and pastel? And if it's a pattern that you're recreating, is the pattern large or small? Is it distinct and easy to describe, or is it more nondescript, having a smaller and more tightly fit design? And take a look at the way light affects the surface. Is the skin shiny or dull, and how shiny? Is it intense, or is the shine barely noticeable? And if the surface is shiny, can you see a reflection? And is that reflection razor sharp like you'd see in a mirror, or is it more faint and blurred out? And when you rub your fingers across the surface, how textured or bumpy is it? Is it perfectly smooth? Most objects aren't. No, most things have at least little scratches on their surface, while others, like that rock, have a texture that's rough and deeply grooved. And what about the level of transparency? Can you see through the object, and to what extent? Is it transparent like a car window, or like a piece of ice, or maybe a bowl of jello? And with some objects, the level of transparency will vary over their surface. A drinking glass is typically, for an example, more transparent toward its inside than it is toward the out. So look for degrees of transparency when you're looking at something see-through. So check that out. When you look a little closer, there really is a great deal to consider in making a believable material. And it's all those surface qualities that then combine together to give the object the look that it takes on. And you know what ends up happening? What's kind of bunk? All you got to do is forget just one or two of those little surface attributes and the whole thing turns out looking wrong. Many times, you're not even sure why things look off, you just know that they do. So open your eyes and look for the smallest of details. It's typically the little things that make the surface look either unbelievably real or just another something created on the computer.